The black lung, pap.
I got the black lung. Tell us a joke, you might feel better.
What animal can jump higher than a house?
Animal can jump higher than a house. A flea.
Any of them. A house can't jump.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
Get more half riddle, half joke today.
The way I read that was how high is a house, rather than how high can a house jump.
Super high, bro. I'm 40 stories. 40 stories deep.
Hello and welcome to episode 48 of That's Class, a podcast about things we find class, hosted by two of your favourite class holes. As always, I'm Rory Winter Hath Cometh Kidd, joined by Duncan Prince of Garbage Malcolm. And unfortunately, Eddie again can't join us this week. He was attacked today. Not today, this week. He was attacked by a raccoon. Or
Trash panda.
a trash panda. Basically, what he told me was in his car, just driving down the road, and then went to go into his glove box, and then raccoon jumps out, eats his face.
God damn.
So
you get for having those travel sweets in your glove box.
Exactly. Stop getting those hard sweets that are actually just balls of hard sugar.
Balls of nothing.
So he's recovering. We will try and phone him again today. He's asked us to text him before we do that. So if there is a moment where we should, then we will, and we'll see how that goes. Straight off the bat, before we get into our main topics, just news. I want to time post this episode. The Queen is dead.
Oh yeah,
long live
that
the
happened.
king.
Actually, for a second,
Oh my
I was
God.
going, where's he going with this?
I'm going to a dark place.
Where's he going with this?
Our queen died. We live in Britain. The Queen Elizabeth II, she died. Longest running monarch ever. 70 years as queen of a country. It feels weird to say we have a king now. Like it almost feels medieval.
All firsts. I was thinking this is literally how Game of Thrones starts. Like if there isn't some dragons or something, there's gonna be some bullshit.
I know. It's funny, like so many people who, I mean, I'm openly not a royalist. Like I couldn't care less about them. They bring good tourism and money into the country, so fair enough. Keep them around. But when she died, I was genuinely like, fuck, this is like history happening right now. Like
history happening, I think, is the key. It's not so much like I care, but it's an interesting historical moment.
Yeah, I think I found out through Twitter of all things, and I was in my room and I was like, oh. So then I ran downstairs and put the telly on, and then it's classic 24-hour news. Like Anchorman joked about it before. We're like, nothing's happening, but we have to keep talking about stuff because it's 24-hour news. Yeah. So they just keep recycling the same stuff.
What happened was I was on my phone and I read the BBC. I was on the BBC News website. I clicked through it and I went, "Oh, royals coming to Balmoral," and this was about 2:00.
Yeah,
I was like, interesting. So I flicked on the telly because I was like, I bet there's a news thing on about this. So I turned on the telly. It was about 3:00, and Big Hugh Edwards has been dragged away from it. Big Hugh's been dragged away from his penthouse suite to do the afternoon news. And he's sitting there in a black tie and a black suit. This was well before it was announced she was dead. And I said to Eddie, I went, I'm actually pretty confident she could actually already be dead, and that we're now just killing time until until they can get all the things like in order.
Absolutely.
Like, are you sure? Like I was like, I don't know. You don't drag Hugh Edwards. It was a lot of pomp and circumstance for very
the BBC.
little.
The BBC probably knew before we all did. And
it
was
they
just
knew
like
they knew hours before, I think.
Before they announced it, I remember, I think it was around 2:00 or whatever. Just had BBC News on in the background, and they were just filming the gates of Balmoral.
Yeah, they cancelled Bargain Hunt as well. You know you don't cancel Bargain Hunt if something's not going to go down.
And then I was like, oh, all right, the whole, like, even Harry's flown to the UK, flown and driven up to Scotland or whatever. And I'm like, she's either dying or she's dead.
Yeah. Or she's dead. Yeah.
And they're going to announce it soon. But it was, again, it's classic 24-hour news. They were just filming the Balmoral Gate, and they were just like,
and analysing the photos as well.
And speculating and like...
One guy got in trouble for speculating. The royal correspondent guy got like a ton of shit because he was basically shit starting because obviously he had nothing to talk about. Yeah. And then basically he was trying so hard not to let the cat out the bag. Like but also he's going to earn like so much money because he's the royal correspondent for the BBC. This is like gold dust. This is gold dust to him.
This is his time to shine.
This is his time to shine. Yeah, he's been waiting years for this to happen, and you could tell that he was like he nearly slipped up like 4 or 5 times by saying was instead of is, stuff like that. And you're just like going, come on guys, just give it to us straight, Doc.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that happened. Yeah.
What I found really funny yesterday was I was walking through Truro doing a bit of house shopping, bits, and Lucy and I walked past Waterston's, and Waterston's already had like the Queen's biography. They already had like a cardboard banner that you would have to like order and print that said 1952 to 2022, and I'm like,
a Jubilee one.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
That's true. I was like, fuck me. They had that in the back, just waiting for it to die or something.
Went to St James Quarter last night, and they had basically every sort of third screen had this picture of the Queen on it in this shopping centre.
Just kept it from the Jubilee.
I thought it was from the Jubilee. It was just every third screen just had this digital picture of the Queen. And then we're sitting having dinner, and I was looking out the window. I could see this escalator, and this kid was coming down the staircase with a Queen Elizabeth II mask on.
Oh no!
I don't know how people are going to take that.
I don't know if that's in poor taste.
I was like, a bit soon. Like a bit soon.
A little bit soon.
A little bit soon.
That's so good.
Oh my days! I was just like, you're brave. I was like, you bold boy.
So that's happened. We're recording this on the 10th of September 2022. Queen died yesterday.
Nope. Thursday.
She died on the 8th. And in a selfish way, they've postponed the football. and we're all furious.
Low-key furious.
Low-key furious, except our big royalist mate.
Except we also we're low-key furious, but at the same time, we completely understand why they would do what they did. I'm surprised. Yeah. It's kind of a catch-22 because they're letting like obviously other events around the world are going on, but it is a national mourning, so it makes complete sense and all the mainstream sports have called it off, and it was their choice to do it. So it's kind of an optics thing. If one of the big ones, I think if they all hadn't agreed, it probably would have all been on. And then obviously there's the catch where somebody, I'm sure I saw on Twitter, somebody had said, can you imagine if everyone had lined up at the places, they'd all sign the national anthem before the games, and there'd been like a minute's silence as well, with then like a round of applause. It probably would have been a good send-off. It probably
would have been class.
Bad. But then you can't trust people. You can't trust people like Chelsea fans to do the right thing. So, considering their history with sensitive topics like that, so
yes,
you can't.
True.
And you can't trust. You can't trust the fans to some groups of fans to
abide
do
by
the right thing.
Yeah, do the right thing.
So
not be a dick.
It's kind of a catch-22.
Yeah. So that was a bit annoying. No football happening. It's not going well for the football team for the pod. They didn't do very well in their last game.
Who's the football team for the pod? Leeds. Oh, I got battered.
Leeds, right?
No, we need to renounce this. Yeah, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we shouldn't be Leeds. Maybe
we've cursed it. Yeah. Cursed it, and he would just be super cross with us.
Ever since we announced it, and then Leeds haven't done very well. But anyway,
shall we announce that sponsorship deal where we sponsor them?
I know. I was gonna try and buy a Leeds hat, but then I was like, it's not worth it.
Don't plummet, drop like a stone.
Yeah, I know. Shall we get into our topics?
Yeah, we'll get to start a few topics. Yeah,
nice. We're going to start off pretty heavy and pretty hard. Two main things. Yeah, you better believe it. That's how I start every
How you start every day.
How I start my day. Two TV shows have started in the last couple of weeks, and we haven't last week, and now we're going to talk about them.
House of Dragons 4 weeks in now.
Yeah.
I think.
So let's talk about that first of all. Then House of Dragons, or as I've put, Game of Thrones 2.0.
Game of Thrones 2.0.
I have not watched any of it, and don't really plan to because.
Oh, interesting.
Because I don't know, I was kind of like, it took me really long to get into Game of Thrones when it first came out. And then I got into it. I think it was better when Game of Thrones was a Sky Atlantic HBO thing.
Okay.
And like people had to come to your house and sit and watch it together. Now it's an
HBO
Sky.
No, it's not. It's an HBO Sky Atlantic thing.
Oh, I thought it was. All right, never mind that.
No. No, it's Lord of the Rings. It's Amazon.
Lord of the Rings is Amazon. But I don't know. I was just like so burnt by the ending of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That I was just like, I just can't be bothered going back into this whole thing. And in comparison to Lord of the Rings, I've got, other than the fact that The Hobbit was crap, I've got huge love for the story and for the lore and things.
Yeah.
Whereas Game of Thrones, I'm kind of over it.
The first episode is for listeners. The first episode of House of the Dragon is available for free on YouTube, courtesy of Sky.
Really?
Yeah. So you can watch the whole thing on YouTube in 4K for free. It is excellent. It's really well written. It's got really great cast. It's set like a few hundred years before Game of Thrones, so everything's totally different. There's lots of dragons. There's lots of there's some good fights so far. Lots of the politics is really clever. It's intriguing. It's held my attention. Like, I'm more invested already in their story, which we'll get into in a second. But I'm really invested in. Don't have Now TV, but I'll probably get this. You can get like little subscription packs for shows, so we might get the House of the Dragon show pack essentially. But I'm gonna wait till there are a couple more episodes in, so we can kind of catch up and then, can binge it a little bit. But it was really good. The opening they pay tribute to Game of Thrones without it being too heavy-handed. And you start to hear names and stuff. Whereas they're not the same people though, which is kind of something slightly different to...
What do you mean? Like the actors are different?
No, no one's alive. It's 200 years before, so everyone's totally different. Because nobody in that universe is like a real... They're not like elves and stuff that live like 3,000 years.
Yeah.
So there's some of the characters none of the characters have transferred across. They're all brand new. So that works really well.
But what do you mean by they're all different?
Just different. Like their name, you hear the names, but obviously it's completely different people. So you've heard Baratheon, you've heard Stark, you've heard Lannister.
So the families are still there.
The families are the same, but it's completely different people, and they all act completely differently to how you would expect. I think, and there's also a couple other names, big family names that weren't mentioned in Game of Thrones, which makes you wonder what happens to them going forward.
Yeah. That's quite good.
So that's kind of cool. But yeah, it's really cool. I think there's like obviously the money, you can tell they've put a bit of care and attention into it, and there's definitely some money been spent on like more dragons.
Yeah, I heard there was a bit of a disappointment in some CGI for the dragon or something, or there was a mistake in episode 1.
Probably.
I don't know what it was, but people were like,
probably. But these are the things. These things can happen. But it's not the end.
I mean, I'm some of the CGI in Rings of Power I'm not happy with.
No,
I think this got through.
The big key is that their use of CGI is very limited. Seems to be quite limited. The rest of it is a lot of hand-built sets, and that obviously transfers really well to viewing it like all these things. when it's done for real. It just looks so much better. But no, it's good. I quite enjoy House of Dragon. It's interesting comparing it to Rings of Power, which is the other one that came
which
out.
I have been loving and also couldn't care less about other things. It's a very weird thing that they've done. I'll just go off on a little tangent, on a little rant.
Go for it. Tell us your thoughts before I tell you, what I think about it.
My thoughts. Episode 1 was class. Loved episode 1. But like we said last week, it was all the trailer. The whole trailer was just episode 1. Galadriel's storyline, I'm really, really liking. Obviously, it's called Rings of Power. So this whole storyline is going to be about the Rings of Power and them being created. And I'm assuming it's being created by Elrond and the guy in Moria, the dwarf.
Well, Celebrimbor was one that forged them, who's the elf that he goes to see in the city.
Yeah, but then Elrond goes to see the dwarf so that they, because they can do it. So I imagine that's them making the contraption to make these rings.
Forge.
I might forge. All right, whatever. We're not in medieval times anymore. So that's really cool, and I love that storyline. I also kind of like. I'm starting to like the storyline of the elf in the Southlands. Initially, I didn't, but after episode 3, have you seen episode 3?
I've seen a bit of it and didn't manage to catch all of it because we were out last night.
Okay, so episode 3 changed how I felt about his storyline because the revelation from that was like, oh fuck, I know where he is now within the map of Middle Earth and things.
All right,
I know where he is. I know actually what is happening and what will become. Galadriel is on this island between Middle Earth and where the elves are from.
Yep.
Which is where basically Aragorn's family bloodline is from, which is why Aragorn's like 87 and he looks like Aragorn.
Numenor. Well
done. You're better at this than I am. I mean, the names and stuff kind of go past me, but I understand what's happening. Like, and I know where things are and what people are and things, but the names just go by. Like, I have no idea who Isildur's dad's called. Like, I just can't remember his name. All right, there you go.
He's in Lord of the Rings, though.
But yeah, I know. Him and Isildur are.
Yeah, in Lord of the Rings.
And they're both like this, as statues. And I'm just really enjoying their story. The story I don't like is the Hobbit story.
The Hobbit story. They're called Harfoot story. No, they're not. They're literally a brand of Hobbit. Because they don't have the rights to the Hobbit, which is why they call them Harfoot.
But I kind of like how they bypassed that, where
it's smart.
They're an ancestor of the Hobbit before they were called Hobbits. They were just called Hardfoots. So I'm like, fair enough. That makes sense.
That's that's what I mean. That's creative. I don't mind that.
I don't know what it is. I just think it really slows the pace down, especially when they choose to put them in this section of the show. Like Galadriel's finding out some shit about the sigil, about where Morgoth is or where Sauron is and things like that. And then it goes, meanwhile, back in the fucking Shire. And they're doing this whole thing where the only thing where it actually got me interested was I'm pretty sure this guy is Gandalf.
I think it's Saruman.
However, I did listen to a YouTube video the other day and he was like, there's a rumor that it's Saruman.
I think it's Saruman.
And then also...
Because Christopher Lee was huge. This guy's tall as fuck.
Yeah, I know, but
Christopher Lee was tall as fuck.
He's got very innocent eyes. And his eyes...
Yeah, but he killed... It was the killing of the... Yeah, anyway. Yeah.
I don't think he meant to kill the fireflies. He looked really sad. Anyway. Where was I?
Saruman,
yeah.
Wizards.
So the other thing that they said in this YouTube video was at the start of the Fellowship, Galadriel's doing her voiceover.
Yeah.
And she talks about the men were giving 9 rings, the elves 3, the dwarves 7. but then she says, but all of them were deceived for another ring. So, and they call him Sauron the Deceiver.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of characters in this show now where whatever this YouTube guy was, is saying Sauron could be anyone, but we just don't know it yet. Sauron could be this old wizard man.
I hope he's Harfoot.
Oh, yeah, he's Lenny Henry. Or he could be this new character that you meet if at the end of this episode that you'll find out later. You don't really meet him. It's like, oh, cliffhanger. They love a cliffhanger. I'm like, for fuck's sake. Or he could be, what else could he have been? He like speculated a lot of these characters because he is a deceiver and no one knows who Sauron looks like or who he is and things like that or where he's been. Yeah. So it's quite cool. I'm keen to keep watching and seeing where it goes because I know where it goes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm keen to see how.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. If you haven't started watching it yet, get Amazon Prime and watch it. First 3 episodes out now. What do you think?
I like some of it, and other bits really annoy me. So the Galadriel storyline really annoys me.
Oh, really?
Yep. There's a couple of things that really annoy me about it, and I'm enjoying it kind of overall. I mean, it's always fun. I like these kind of shows, so it's not really I think off the top of my head, first of all, at the moment, there's something missing, right? Where if you take the Lord of the Rings and just whip that out of the title, there's nothing. There's nothing tying it at the moment to Lord of the Rings, really. It doesn't, apart from Sauron and Galadriel. It kind of just feels like there's something missing that's really connecting me to all the characters. I'm not really invested like you were when you first watched The Fellowship of the Ring. Like they invest you in it from step one.
Yeah, but the thing with The Fellowship is it is one company. It's one unit.
No,
and they become friends.
But the movie itself gets you invested better. So one of the things, for example, with Galadriel, in my opinion, is they keep going, she's the scourge of the orcs, she's the commander of the northern armies. Okay, could you stop telling me that and actually show me her actually being a badass? Because so far I've only seen her do one like semi-badass thing and it was shot absolutely horrifically bad.
Oh, this is when she killed the troll.
Oh, it was so bad. It was shot really so poorly.
That was really bad.
The problem is that's supposed to show us that she is
a badass.
Galadriel is a badass, but it actually doesn't really do. To me, it didn't really do that. But then we've not really seen her. The only other time that she was shown to be a badass was she kind of like jumped off a boat, and it was kind of like, well, now what are you going to do? Because if that raft hadn't appeared, you'd have been screwed. So, because even her elfish powers aren't going to help her swim the entire way across the sea.
I see your point, but at the same time, I kind of like the fact that we've not seen why she's known as a badass, because she's in this predicament now where she's like a hostage,
there has to
or
be
she's
something to get you hooked on it. We have to know, like, you can't just keep telling us she's a badass and not. She's not, because she doesn't have there's no intimidation or presence or even a show of the sorcery that she's supposed to have, because she's actually a magic, like she's a sorceress.
Yeah,
she's not actually.
They show you briefly that in the opening scene
with the boat. But it's the boat.
Yeah, she's a kid.
Yeah, but it's not the badass.
She's learning.
This is the thing. But they've made a badass character, which is cool, and I'm cool with the way her storyline is going. But there's these mistakes where it's basically what we talk about, show don't tell all the time. And there's not been enough show of the sort of some badassery to kind of cement this idea that Galadriel is supposed to be this all singing, all dancing. Also, I can't work out, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the elves' haircuts yet, because the elves' men's haircuts are just the strangest choice. They all look like Steve Harrington from Stranger Things.
I never even clocked it.
They all look like Steve. Look at their big quiffs.
Hold on.
They all look like Steve Harrington from Stranger Things. It just seems like a really weird design choice. I also like the fact that Celebrimbor and Elrond look like they travelled all the way to the dwarfs, Casa Doom, and then they get there, and then Elrond's like, right, peace out, I'll be back in 2 weeks. Celebrimbor's like, so I've just come here for nothing? What? Okay, I'll just leave then.
So this is what I think is bad about the show is not timeline, but how time passes.
Yeah.
Because elves don't really age that quickly. Oh yeah, their hair is ridiculous.
It's not super ridiculous. I mean, it's just funny that all the male elves seem to have the same hairstyle.
Everyone's hair is just Steve Harrington. That's great.
Yeah, everyone's hair is just Steve Harrington.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've struggled with probably is time.
Yeah.
And how much time has passed. How long was Elrond there and was told about this thing? How long has it been since she's been on the boat? How long does the boat take to get to the west? All this time has passed, but we don't really know how much time.
Established, they haven't established. At least in Game of Thrones, they established how long it takes to get from X to X.
And
at least then, it was like King's Landing to Winterfell. Yeah. When they arrived in the first episode, the king arrives and he says, "Oh, it's been X to get here." And you kind of go, right, okay, so that's that. And that kind of just sets a baseline for everything else. The one thing, so I've said things I didn't like so far, but what I have liked is it is very pretty. I think some of the CGI is a bit weird, but it's a good looking show. The music's great. I enjoyed the dwarves. Phenomenal. I thought the dwarves were I thought Casa Doom was really cool. I thought the dwarves were really well done. I thought I really enjoyed the Sylvan elf, whose name I can't remember, who is the guard down in the Southlands. Whose name I can't remember.
The elf that's attracted to the human.
Yes. Yeah. His storyline, I actually quite enjoyed it. I enjoyed this idea that they've been watching the South for ages, and actually they're quite bitter about it because they've kind of just been overseeing this land and doing bugger all for 300 years. I can imagine that would be quite boring. Yeah. And I really enjoyed the sort of horror aspect of him going through the tunnels. Once again, the fight with the orc in the hut.
That was pretty creepy.
It was creepy, but it was also not well. I don't think it was well done, but I thought it was quite clever, and I like the fact the orc was real, and I think that adds everything to it. And I thought that it kind of showed the panic of it, which I quite liked. And I really enjoyed, that storyline. I kind of got attached to from the start. It's a little bit Stranger Things-esque, where he basically found the cow, and the cow releases the black goo, and he kind of goes, this is exact. Like I said, between the Steve Harrington hair and then the Stranger Things plot with the I need to go track this evil down. It was kind of I swear they're just copying Stranger Things season 1.
I don't know how much you've watched of the last episode, but it kind of changes from that very quickly.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But after this episode, I've started to really enjoy his storyline. I mean, this is the other thing about the show is. And it's very Game of Thronesy as well, and very Lord of the Rings when I first got into Lord of the Rings. I don't know his name. No, don't know.
I can't remember his name.
Can't remember his name
actually at all. I mean, they've said it a couple of times, but
what I will say is some of the CGI in this episode is very noticeable, very reminiscent of The Hobbit.
Oh no!
In particular with his storyline, the elves do some. He meets up with some other elves in the tunnels, but the elves do some CGI we're weightless running and jumping, like elves don't weigh anything.
Oh yeah.
And remember how Legolas jumped over all the falling bridge?
Oh no, that's not a that was kind of cool but also not cool.
Yeah, there's some of that happens, and when it did happen I went and then there's a warg. A warg shows up.
Oh yeah.
And the CGI in the warg is really bad.
But this is kind of my point about the whole earning.
Not that it's bad, it's just... Sorry, bad's a wrong word because the CGI is incredible.
Noticeable.
It's noticeably different to the movie.
Right, okay.
From the warg that we saw in Two Towers.
Yeah.
It's a different species or a different animal.
It'll be a different species. Years been years and years, so I
Yeah,
would imagine
yeah.
it could be a different species. But
it looks very cartoony in my opinion.
yeah, I think
Kind of
that this
looks like
is-
it looks like a CGI version of the cartoon version of the Lion King's hyenas,
right. Okay, I get you.
like big old Disney eyes.
Yeah, it's just an interesting. It's an interesting. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. It's not that I'm not enjoying it. I think I'll be intrigued to see how. Obviously, we've got more episodes to go, but there are just these things where it's kind of annoying. But like you say, once if they go to Numenor, we can actually see these characters. Actually, because I've seen like there's a preview trailer of the rest of the season. So like all these things, the ship could course correct.
Yes.
On the things that I'm not particularly enjoying, but at the same time, some of the other things might fall off a cliff. I also am not a big fan of there's definitely some J.J. Abrams bad robot style thing where they open the chest at the end of the first episode or second episode, and it's like this light shining from the box, and it's clearly the Silmarils that they've obviously nicked from somebody.
I was thinking in my head that it was that stone in the Hobbit that.
It could be that, but I don't think that was there. I think that was Erebor, not Khazad-dûm. So I think that is
different
mountains. Yeah, I think that's. I think that's just maybe one or two. Like, could be fragments of Silmaril. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, because who was that had the stone? It was Sons of Durin.
Yeah,
but was he not Durin?
That was Durin. Yeah, and there were like Durin's named a lot in the other things. So I just think that the one thing they need to kind of work out is if you go back to Lord of the Rings, they mention the Rings of Power in Lord of the Rings, right? But they don't actually talk about them for the rest of the book, right?
Yeah,
so they mention them at the
one.
start, and they talk about one. This show kind of for being called the Rings of Power, they didn't need to kind of be secretive about the Rings of Power. Because they kind of like, oh, well, we're going to build this forge because I have this plan to make this thing. It's kind of, we already know it's going to be the Rings of Power. It's the frickin' show title. Like, you don't need to be so secretive about it. Like, I get the characters being secretive, but the writing wise, you can just be out there and then we can kind of be invested because we're kind of going, oh, right, he is going to make the Rings of Power. Excellent. Now I'm invested because I know what comes next.
Yeah.
I'm
looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to when that happens. The thing about a TV show, and I don't know how many episodes there are in this.
Eight.
Okay, and we're 3 down.
8 because we're 3 down. 8 because somebody pointed out that we're a quarter of the way through and we still haven't actually had all the plots set up.
Yeah, I imagine season 1 is the plot set up.
Season 1's just going to be set up.
Yeah, because at the end of certain storylines, and I imagine they'll all meet up at one point.
Some of them will, yeah.
Certain storylines, like Galadriel's one, seems to really start to kick off now. But then I can totally see next week being her about to kick it off.
Hopefully. Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, the end of the episode is like, fuck, here we go. Things are about to go. And then this next week is going to be, she's preparing for things to go. Because she knows it's about to go, so she's getting ready for it to go. And I'm like,
and then I hope they don't just kind of keep getting ready to go. That's just what I mean. Stop trying to let's see a little bit more action from these badass people, so we can establish who actually is a
badass.
Who can we root for? Like, how do we know?
Yeah,
like all these.
What's interesting is the guy we met on the boat, and we found out who he is. And it's not really a spoiler, because they say in the Southlands that there is no king. But in the Rings of Power, 9 were given to the kings of men.
Yep.
So there must be 9 kings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Well, some form of. It must be the kings of men. So yeah, I'm not really sure. There must be 9 regions.
Unless it's one king and his
his
King Arthur men.
Yeah, Knights of the Round Table. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, intriguing.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said,
and those 9
watch it.
Those 9 men become the ring wraiths. So
yeah,
it's quite cool to maybe see the origin of a ring wraith.
They must be in the Numenor, maybe. Who knows?
And Galadriel talks about the Night King, the Witch King, being the worst, but also she says it almost like a personal experience. So who did she just meet?
Let's see some of these. Yeah, let's see some of these personal experiences then.
Exactly. Let's move on from there, shall we?
Moving on to the next topic, of course, we have to talk about practically a once in a lifetime concert that happened recently. Of course, once in a lifetime, lots of great songs played. We're of course talking about the South Park 25th anniversary concert.
You son of a bitch. You absolute son of a bitch. I was actually like, fuck, he's doing this really well here.
With such great songs as Kyle's Mom and America, fuck yeah, and the Yelper special.
I forgot that happened.
As soon as I saw what you wrote, I kind of went, oh, no, I can tee this up. Sorry about that. Yes,
let me take a step back. I'm quite emotional right now.
Take a step back for a second. There was that. So that did happen.
That did happen.
Excellent. I would advise people to watch that if they haven't seen it, if they're interested. It was very funny. And worth a little watch. Rory's in shambles right now. But another concert did happen. Once again, probably
once in a lifetime.
A very emotional once in a lifetime concert. Which was the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert, who was the drummer for the Foo Fighters. Who tragically died not that long ago.
March.
Earlier this year. And obviously they had a tribute concert to him. I'm not sure where it was displayed. Probably was it just online only, or was it like displayed other places like MTV or something? Or
it was MTV. YouTube was completely streamed live.
Mm-hmm.
It was also on like Peacock or like one of those American ones. But the only place you could see it in the UK, I think, was MTV YouTube. Or you could be there because it was at Wembley.
Oh, was it Wembley? Oh, was it here? I didn't realize it was. It was here. Well, that's cool. And yeah, they gave from what I've seen of it. I've not watched the whole thing, but they gave one hell of. I'm sure you probably have watched all of it, Roy. But they gave one hell of a performance. I think if you're into the Foo Fighters, it's probably worth watching. If you like their music, it wouldn't surprise me if they release it. It sounds bad, but it wouldn't surprise me if they release it as like a live album or something.
Because I think they've released it as a stream.
Oh, as a stream.
Okay. So you can rewatch the whole thing. But yeah, it was insane. I mean, personally, Taylor Hawkins was a huge inspiration for me as a drummer when I used to be a drummer. I still kind of regard myself as a drummer, but without the drums. I don't really drum anymore.
Just drum wherever I can.
Drum wherever I can. And it was basically like the best lineup that you've ever thought of. Let me just rattle off the actual lineup. So
whilst you're looking that up, shout out to Taylor Hawkins' son.
Oh, Shane Hawkins. Yeah.
Shane Hawkins. That was baller.
Absolutely killed
it. That's a pro gamer move. Fair play to him.
But listener of the pod, friend of the pod, Andrew Clarkey, he was there. He was at Wembley.
You're a bit jealous of that.
Bit jealous of that. I would have loved to have got a ticket. I was up in the morning that the tickets went for sale and I didn't manage to get one. So I hope Clarkey looked like he had a great time. But let me just rattle off the list.
Tell like you said that with no bitterness.
Yeah, I know. Son of a bitch. Kicked off with Liam Gallagher sang a couple songs. Josh Homme from Them Crooked Vultures, yeah. And Queens of the Stone Age. Sorry, that took me a while. Nile Rodgers, Chevy Metal and the Coattail Riders, which was Taylor Hawkins' band's outside of the Foo Fighters. Kesha, which we don't need to worry about. She was really weird. That was a weird one. Justin Hawkins came on from the Darkness. Wolfgang Van Halen. Van Halen's son came on and absolutely shredded on guitar.
As This Is the Way.
This Is the Way.
This is the way.
They just did a bunch of Van Halen covers. Violet Grohl, Dave Grohl's daughter, came on stage and sang a Jeff Buckley song,
Nice.
which was very cool. Supergrass played for a couple songs. Them Crooked Vultures played. The Pretenders with Dave Grohl played. The James Gang, who was a huge inspiration to Taylor Hawkins. The James Gang was the James Gang. If you've not heard of them, are a band. So the Eagles guitarist Joe Walsh, did his own thing, but then also made a 3-piece funk band called the James Gang.
Okay.
So Joe Walsh was on stage, which is like huge for me anyway.
He's big in the like he's an old
school rocker,
old school rock and roll. Yeah,
he was in the Eagles.
Yeah.
So James Gang played. Violet Grohl came back on. Brian Johnson from AC/DC came out and played some AC/DC tunes.
Wow.
Stuart Copeland, who's the drummer for the Police, he came out with the Foo Fighters and played drums, and they played a bunch of Police covers.
Nice. Wow, this is quite a lineup.
I'm not even finished yet. The remaining members of Rush, I don't know who's dead or who's alive.
Can we just stop for 2 seconds? How amazing is it, right? How you would never put money on this, that Ozzy Osbourne outlived Queen Elizabeth II. Like Cat thinks he's just pickled. Like he's just done so many drugs.
He's meant to be doing a gig soon, I think.
What? How are Motley Crue still alive as well after all the shit they've pulled?
Not even Motley Crue, just Nikki Sixx. How is he still alive?
How is Nikki Sixx still alive? And I was like, you never thought I'd see that happen.
Well, I know.
But moving on.
But this is the thing. Like, it's kind of really. Anyway, I'll finish this first. Rush played with Dave Grohl. Brian May and Roger Taylor from Queen came on stage with the Foo Fighters, and they
without Adam Lambert, I hope.
Without Adam Lambert,
no, because he's the person that sings.
Yeah, so instead of Adam Lambert, they brought in Sam Ryder.
Oh, okay.
Which was actually a really good choice.
That'd work, yeah.
And Somebody to Love, which is a song that Taylor would cover at Foo Fighters gigs. Because him and Dave would swap roles, and Dave would go on the drums.
I knew that was a thing. Yeah.
And then Brian May, this was probably a highlight of the evening. Brian May sat down and did an acoustic cover of Love of My Life, which was a Freddie Mercury song.
Oh, right, okay.
Usually played on piano.
But did an acoustic guitar. Nice.
He did it on acoustic guitar and sang it himself. And he asked everyone to either open up a lighter or open up their phones. And if you just look up on Google, Love of My Life, Taylor Hawkins tribute, they've got like the image of his tattoo. I have his tattoo on my right arm, but they have an image of his tattoo on the big screen, and then it's darkness, and it looks like stars, and it's such a nice little visual for that evening.
Images.
It looks so cool.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
And after that, the Foo Fighters basically came on and did a Foo Fighters set. Times Like These, All My Life, The Pretender, Monkey Wrench, Learn to Fly, These Days, Best of You, Oh Darling.
The classics.
The classics. But they did it with different drummers, which was cool, because obviously they don't have one. So Josh Freese came on, and he did the first two. Travis Barker from Blink-182 came on.
Travis Barker. Yeah. I know that name. I get that reference.
Nandi Bushell, she's like the 9-year-old that challenged Dave Grohl to a drum off on like TikTok or something. She's like, right. I don't know if anyone else knows who she is, but she was quite famous on my Instagram because I watch a lot of drummers. And she's
the way
just
you said
like,
that make it sound like she got famous quite famous on my Instagram. And I'm on your Instagram. I'm like, what?
No, she got super famous
with your 10 followers.
She got super famous by doing I think It Smells Like Teen Spirit. But she's 9, and she wasn't playing it amazingly, but she was playing it with like energy, and she was fucking loving it.
Giving a go.
And then Dave Grohl obviously saw it, and now she's super famous. So she played drums on Learn to Fly, and then Roger Taylor's son Rufus Taylor, who is
nepotism on display here.
So Roger Taylor's the drummer for Queen,
right?
So his son Rufus came on, and he played the last 2 songs, including Best of You. And then Paul McCartney of all people came on stage.
No, he's pals with Dave Grohl though. So.
Yeah, him and Dave are really big mates. Yeah. And Paul McCartney played on the last Foos record.
Right.
and they played "Oh Darling," which is a Beatles cover, and they also played "Helter Skelter." And then Paul McCartney fucked off.
Excellent.
And then they played "Aurora," which was not the penultimate song. Penultimate song was Shane Hawkins, but "Aurora" is known as Taylor's favorite song to play as the Foo Fighters, and it was the first song he felt that he played on that sort of solidified his role as the drummer.
That's cool.
So they played that, and then Shane Hawkins came on, and they played "My Hero."
And the crowd went wild.
Absolutely crushed it.
Oh, it sounds like a good show. Actually, it sounds like I said, it would probably make an excellent
DVD.
It probably would make an excellent DVD. Would have made an excellent live album almost.
Yeah,
covers.
I mean, I wouldn't be
something.
surprised if they bring one out. They're going to do a second one.
See, I don't know how that's going to work.
This is the thing. Like, the first one was really, really good because it was the first one, you know, and there's emotion in there, and everyone's like, "Fuck, man! Like, he's dead. We're doing this whole thing for him." But because it was in Wembley, they decided Taylor's from LA, so he's not. He lived in LA. They're going to do another one on the 27th of September.
Is that the SoFi Stadium by any chance?
In Los Angeles? I don't know where.
Where is it? Out of curiosity, is it that new SoFi Stadium or? Anyway, so you feel like it was a fitting send off?
It was a really cool send off and super emotional. Like the intro when Dave came on and introduced everyone, and like he basically said it like a funeral. He was like, "We're gathered here today, you know, to celebrate
the forum."
Super emotional. When the Foo Fighters came on to start their set, they played "Times Like These," and he did an acoustic start to the song, and he broke down. Dave broke down and like fought his way into trying to get into the sort of rock and roll part of the song so that he could go and sort of cry into his hair or whatever. But yeah, it was awesome. I really, really enjoyed it. I want to watch it again. And I'm glad I have a tribute to him on my body. He's my favorite drummer. He will always be my favorite drummer.
Nice.
And it's kind of, it was good. It was good. It was nice.
Nice.
I don't want to get too emotional on the pod, but yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Before Rory starts greeting, we'll move on.
Yeah, before I start crying, Xbox have a new controller.
What a great segue into something that's not really that interesting at all. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Okay, next topic.
I wanted to talk to you about this because Xbox have revealed a new controller. Plus, you can customize the whole thing, which, in my knowledge, that's only ever been possible through a third party, right?
Yeah, I think this is a very modular design. I've not really had too much of a look at it, but it would appear that you can change bits in and out. You could do some things with the old Elite.
You could always take like the joysticks out, right?
You could take the thumbstick, like the top thumbs, change the pads on the thumbsticks, but that's definitely new. I need to look some more into it. I'm not really sure. Yeah.
But it also seems like Xbox would always just go, you got a white controller or a black controller or a limited edition controller that we bring out to do with games and things.
Yeah, I mean, you can now go on the Microsoft website and make your own. No,
but that's what I mean. Well. Like that's what they're sort of pushing more on is customizing them.
So yeah, they had that for a while with the Xbox One, where you could go to the Xbox Design Lab and make your own Xbox and make your own Xbox controller with just colors. Whereas now they've kind of added, this thing seems to have extra bits. Yeah, if that makes sense. I don't really know. Like, I don't know what the market is for that, because you can do just as well. Because hardcore gamers might buy it, but that's not your whole market. Yeah. You can do just as well with a regular controller. Yeah. If I wanted one of those, I don't really like the color. I'd probably buy a custom controller if I wanted kind of a decent controller. I like a colored one that like makes the color whatever color you want it. If I want a new controller, I usually just go on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not really sure who that's for. But I just think it's for like Twitch streamers, you know? Yeah. Oh look, I got it in That's Class Blue in yellow. 6 differently shaped sticks, 2 D-pads, 2 types of paddles. They must have paddles on the back as well.
Oh, instead of, they call them paddles, do they?
They have like paddles on the inside that you can use as extra. You can like do keybinds on certain
like
games.
here.
Yeah, like on the inside of the, like here they say to the listeners. Or if you're holding a game controller in two hands, it'd be like for your middle fingers and your ring fingers would be.
Oh man, Lucy. Speaking of, when we were house bits shopping yesterday, I was looking at couches, and every time I would sit on a couch, for audio listeners, I would sit on the couch and I'd put my hands out in front of me as if I'm holding a gaming controller, and I'd just go and move my thumbs around. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm playing my game. I'm just checking to see how it would be to play my game." And she was like, "This is the saddest thing."
Did you also do the sit back, and then did you also try a sit forward for when things get tense?
So what I did was, audio listeners, just if you're on Spotify, just open your Spotify, you'll see it. If you're not, go on YouTube.
Couches have very specific things that we need to address when you're looking for a couch. Yeah.
I did this. I'll show you what I did.
I'm also looking for a couch, so I completely agree with you on this.
What I did was, I sat down on the couch and I went like this. I went, and I leant back and I went,
relax.
And I was right next to the arm as well. And I was like, and then I did this. Yeah, that's a comfy couch. And she's like, "What are you doing?" So that's how I buy couches. Anyway,
I think that is how you buy couches nowadays. You get to, like, if you were buying one for you like to sit on the couch lengthways, it was just yourself. That's how you would sit on it, because otherwise you're never going to know.
You'd pop those shoes off and you'd lie in the shop.
Pop those shoes off and have a sit in the shop. Yeah. No, we're also in the market for a couch, so I will remember to assume the position.
Send me a picture and I'll put it on the gram. I'll put my one on the gram. Actually, I'll show you guys.
There are two moments where if you're shopping for a couch, these need to be checked. One is the sit forward.
Yes.
The intense sit forward and the relaxed sit back.
Yeah. If you guys follow us on Instagram, I'll put the picture of me, because Lucy took a picture of it because she couldn't believe it, of me pretending to play a video game while sitting on a couch. But in a completely similar topic to Xbox revealing a new controller, similar topic but also laughable, is PlayStation were also in the news that they've changed their design, and everyone was like, "Oh, they've changed the design of the PS5." They've not. They've changed the design of the internals of the PS5. The PS5 still looks the same.
Why tell us that? We don't need to know this. Nobody needs to know this. This is non-news. This is non-news.
But what's also non-news, which is very relatable to this, is the fact that there was another Apple event, and guess what? Everything is slightly different, but also kind of the same.
Also ludicrously expensive.
Yeah. Ludicrously expensive, slightly different, also kind of the same.
Also kind of same, but different, but still same.
And I'll share this on our Instagram as well. One of my friends who lives in Ireland, his name is Dylan Osborne. He's like a content creator. He not a content creator for himself really, but also like he does a lot for other companies. He made his own version of the Apple event, but incorporated the Teletubbies, because he was like, "How is this not like watching the Teletubbies?" And when you watch his edit and then you watch the Apple event, you're like, "Oh, he didn't actually change much." He just added Teletubbies.
Did you ever see the Onion thing years ago about the new MacBook click wheel? It was like a fake video, and it says the new Apple product, they're really excited about it. And it was basically like a MacBook that they'd put a sticker over the top that was like an old iPod click wheel. So you couldn't actually, there was no mouse or anything, it was just the click wheel. To use the keyboard, you had to like A, click, B, and there were they used all these fans, and they got really excited for it. And they're kind of going, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. Yeah, I can't wait to like look at my emails, and it's gonna take me it's gonna take me 100+ hours to write an email, but it'll be totally worth it to have a new piece of tech. It's so shiny.
It's so shiny and new." I saw a meme of it's like an old guy at Christmas, and he's wearing this red checkered shirt, well. And it's like me when I come back from the Apple event and getting the new iPhone 14, and it's the same shirt.
Same shirt. Apple have struck upon a business model that is just outstanding.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because when Jobs was alive, you felt like Apple really pushed the boat out. You know, people were making MP3 players that had a USB on the end.
Yeah,
and then Apple brought out the iPod.
Yeah, the first iPod and things like that, and then it all just kind of died.
Now they've kind of gone, cool, it's a smartphone and it's an iPad and it's a laptop and it's a computer.
I think they've reached this. There's probably a limit to what people are willing to have on them in terms of like iPads and phones and stuff.
Yeah,
and then also technology. They've probably just reached this limit where we just need to have this next step up in. Like the foldable smartphones is a clever idea by Samsung.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's like the first generation. So we're not quite there yet with it. So, but that's the sort of thing Apple should really be, that's the sort of thing Apple would have looked at. See, can we make it smaller, but also expand or something like that? That's the sort of thing you would expect them to invest some money in and see if they could do it. Maybe they are, but it just, like you say, it seems strange.
Very strange.
But anyway, I didn't watch that. But would you like to go into some trailer time?
I think we'll do our little segment before trailers.
You want to do a little bit before? What you've been watching?
We're trying to figure out what this segment's going to be called, because it's what are we watching or what are we recommending, or
what have you been doing?
We need a segment for it. That's, you know, like, because trailer time is like
cool.
A
segment. Yeah.
You know, what are we watching? Doesn't sound great. So we need to figure that out. But that's relevant for you listening. I'll kick it off. I very late to the game. This has been out for a while. The Long Way Up, which is the third installment of Ewan McGregor and Charlie Berman doing a road trip on motorcycles.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Enjoyed it.
Incredible. Because even if you don't care about motorcycles, it's just a road trip documentary, and it's a like nature documentary, and it's an environmental documentary, and it's a travel documentary. And this time on the Long Way Round, if you're not aware of it, was when they started in London on these BMW adventure bikes, and they went the long way round the world to New York. So they went east to New York. And then they did another one. That was in 2004.
There's a long way down, and there was a long way up.
Another one after that was the Long Way Down, which was John O'Groats to Cape Town. Yeah. Which was also great. I think they also did that in the same, the modern versions of the BMWs they did in 2004. Yeah. Whereas the Long Way Up, they're going from Chile to Los Angeles, and they're doing it in electric Harley Davidsons. And in 2022, that's the thing. I've seen these electric Harley Davidsons. They're incredible. They're stupidly fast. They make no sound, which is very weird for a Harley. But what I didn't know was they filmed this in 2019, so post COVID. And
wait, 2019, pre-COVID?
Sorry, pre-COVID. And these Harley Davidsons were only in pre-production. So they're all concepts, and they're all like just tests. So Harley have brought out this electric bike that is a sports bike. And Ewan McGregor and Charlie Berman basically said, can you make this bike
an adventure bike?
An adventure version.
Adventure bike?
Genuinely. And they did. And it was completely, what they were doing was basically saying, can it be done from Chile to LA on electric bikes where everyone's worrying about charging and things like that? And that being said, the first 4 days when you're not used to charging, they fucked up like very quickly. Like, and then all of a sudden the last 5 episodes, they don't really talk to you about charging because they've kind of nailed it. And what's really cool is they partnered with this company that do charging points, like little charging points, but they're like 2 hours and it's full, like a quick charge.
That's cool.
And they've left them there. So you can actually follow the route and do it yourself on an electric car or bike. Yeah. Which I thought was quite cool. So like for the rest of time, they're going to be there. So they've now started to develop. And the way that they were describing it was, you know, like from horse and carriage to a petrol engined car, a combustible engine. The people were going, "Oh, this uses petrol. Where are we going to get the petrol from next?" It kind of felt like that.
Yeah.
And now we're like, "Oh, you can just get petrol from anywhere whenever you want." You don't really think about it. And that's kind of where electricity is going, they think. It was just cool. And instead of having Range Rover Discos as support vehicles, they got in contact with a car company called Rivian, who are also from America somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they are all-purpose, all-terrain electric vehicles. And they were concepts as well. So like the dashboard of this car was like masking tape with stuff written on it. And like
this button does this.
Like switches and buttons rather than like nice plastic
like the
leather.
alien chip in Independence Day where it's covered with the forward, back, left, right.
Genuinely.
Oh wait, hold on, this is wrong.
Yeah, spin it round.
Flip it around. There we go. That's all good. That's cool. So it's a good show.
It was such a cool show, and it kind of got, if you're not into motorcycles, I always have been, and it got me more into them. I'm like, fuck yeah, I love motorbikes.
Love it.
And then also another thing I've been watching is Welcome to Wrexham, which is the Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney.
Is that basically the same sort of style as All or Nothing Arsenal, All or Hard Knocks? Hard Knocks, Dallas Cowboys.
It's more of a documentary of them first. So they've released the first 2 or 3 episodes.
So is it just about?
It's about why, like who Rob is, who Ryan is, what Wrexham is. The team have been in the National League for 14 years. Yeah, which apparently is the longest anyone's ever been in there. And it's just such a hard league to get out of, and they're just planting the seeds of this story of how rough this town has been because of COVID and because of recessions and things. And
cool.
And Rob found Wrexham because he's from Philly, and when Philadelphia won the Super Bowl, like the whole town got together. Like the Eagles is Philadelphia, and it keeps everyone together. And he felt that same thing for the people of Wrexham.
It's very much more along the lines of Sunderland Until I Die, where it's a bit more.
It's about the town.
Sunderland. Do you remember Sunderland Until I Die?
Yeah.
Where it was more about the people, the fans and the people.
Yeah, because that was when they got into the Prem or something, right?
They basically start the show and they were recording the show and then they got relegated.
Oh yeah, back out of the championship.
And then they got relegated. I don't know if that was they got a game. I can't remember if that was season 2. Basically, I can't remember when they started filming, if it was the Prem and then it was Championship, and they got relegated, and then this was them trying to come back up from the Championship, and then they get relegated at the end of season 1. But I get what you mean. So it's more because unlike the All or Nothing, this is not an established club in a way. So you kind of have to set that story because that is the story. Yeah, I get you. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to give it a shot. It's just I
recommend. It's on Disney Plus because it's a FX doco.
Yeah, that's because they're in with FX, so that would make sense.
Yeah, Always Sunny.
Sunny's on FX. Yeah, that tracks.
What I thought was quite funny was the certain things from Wrexham when they changed. Like their shirt and things. So it's Philadelphia Eagles green is their away strip. And on the back of their away strip, it says, "It's always sunny." But it says "It's always sunny in." And then there was meant to say Wrexham, but they put a sponsorship deal there. So it says "It's always sunny in Expedia." Which I thought was quite good.
What's the thing about them as well? Something I was going to say. No, it's gone. Whatever it was. It's come in my brain and left.
Spoiler for the documentary, they didn't get promoted. So
I do remember what it was.
They're still not in the national championship.
I saw something Ryan Reynolds was what they're doing though is really clever because they are actually trying to get their club up and running. And then of course they're saying like, well, wait, so we can't stream. We want people to be able to watch like football, this league's football game, so we can get fans.
Yeah.
And then they sort of said, the National League are like, no. And Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are like, or kind of saying, but why? And the classic Ryan Reynolds, but why? So we don't just want to stream Wrexham games, we want to be able to stream the whole league. Why are you so obtuse? So I love how they're taking it to the established old boys I kind of said the reason nobody gets out of this league is because you guys are idiots.
Yeah, they're coming
that's
from...
That's the reason nobody is investing in this league is because we've invested and now we want to take our business, basically take our business up the way, and you are standing in our way. So, but you're not going to win because we're infinitely better than you.
Exactly. And it's quite funny because they do in the documentary, they like show Rob and his son watching a Wrexham game in their house in LA, and he's like explaining it to his son and stuff. And it's just funny hearing an American try to describe football when you've grown up with it your whole life, and you're like, oh, even he's new to it. He has no idea what's happening. And one thing that's really funny about the documentary is every time someone says a colloquial word, either a Welsh word or a British English word, it stops and it has like this Monty Python type thing where it says Welsh, English, American. And it's like, say skin. So like, oh, I'm skin. And then it'll stop and it'll say English, skin, American, poor, you know?
That's cool.
And then Welsh, and then it'll have the Welsh writing, the Welsh language.
Yeah, the Welsh way. Wow.
I find that really cool. That's very nice of them to do that. It's
That's
a good documentary. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
It does sound fun. Sounds good. Sounds like they're doing a good thing.
Yeah. Shall we
times.
move on? We've talked about two of the things that you've watched. You've also watched the finale of Only Murders
in the Building, which is one of the best shows on, probably one of the best shows on telly.
Really?
That you can watch. Only Murders in the Building. Oh, 100%.
I need to get back into it because I don't think I passed season 1.
It's only season 2 is just finished. But season 1 was fantastic. Season 2 is good, not as good as season 1, but I would still recommend it.
Question.
Go for it.
Since there's a season 2, I take it they don't solve the murder of season 1.
No, the season 1.
Or is it
season
different
1
murder?
is. It's if you watch the end of season 1, you know what happens at the start of season 2.
Okay.
They do this thing where it seems to be a thing they're doing where the end of the season actually sets up the next season.
Cool.
In a way, so that actually the start of season 1, the very start of season 1 is actually the end of season 1. If that makes sense. So it comes full circle, and then the end of season 1 is actually the start straight into season 2. And then the end of season 2, so there seems to be a bit of a time jump from at the end of season 2 that's going to be start of season 3, but I think we're going to have like season 3 is going to be like a flashback leading up to that again.
Okay.
So that'll be and there's a special guest cameo at the end of season 2, which is fun, and you can tell that they're having a good laugh. And I wonder if they're going to change. They might change. A hint to people that haven't seen it. I think they might be changing. They might change the name of the show, depending on if that'd be. I think it'd be really cool if they. Well, no, it's Only Murders in the Building. But what happens at the end of
because that's the name of their podcast, right?
That's the name of the podcast, yeah. And then the end of season 2, something happens, and you kind of go, "Oh, I wonder if they'll change the name Building to something else to kind of show that this is a different." Because I kind of moved. Season 2 seems the next thing seems to be it might move out from the building a little bit.
So it's not because the building was like a separate character, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of its own character with its own it's a very interesting. That's the best thing about the show was all the people that lived in these New York buildings.
Yeah.
So it'd be it's great. I'd recommend it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But
cool.
It was good. It was a good finale.
Lucy's on holiday now for 10 days, so I might just go and binge that.
It's a good show, and they make a good laugh at the fact it's their second season.
Yeah. Cool.
So it says, you can tell it's our second season.
Because of the podcast.
So they keep making these method jokes. So they say, it always bogs down in the second season. They always struggle a little bit.
That's so good.
Says, we're getting really sharp at this. He says, you can tell. It's our second season. And
Nice.
he just keeps walking up.
That's awesome.
That's great. Oh, it's so good.
Shall we go into trailer time?
Some quick trailer time? Yeah.
Quick trailer time. Eddie added one because when I was making this document for this pod, Eddie posted it like live, like I was on it, and Google Docs, you can see who's also on it, and I was like, wait, who posted that? And then I looked up at who was online, and it was Eddie. So big thanks to Eddie for doing this. This came out. This trailer one time came out. Oh, sorry, yeah, trailer time podcast within a podcast about trailers where I say it's hosted by Eddie, but it's really hosted by me, and then Duncan gets really confused. By me. Duncan gets confused and cries in a corner.
It's just
Winnie the Pooh has a new movie out, and this is already cycled round my family chat, and my sister was very upset. This Winnie the Pooh movie is called Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey.
It's a horror movie, and it looks. But I'm not really a massive fan of horror movies, but I might watch this because it kind of looks kind of funny.
It looks like a Sharknado type horror movie.
Oh, it's bad. And you know what makes me laugh is there's clearly half a shot of Piglet, who obviously looks terrifying.
Yeah.
But
and they've got
really
like the pig squeals in the background.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what they do with Tigger.
If there's Tigger, I think from what they've shown in the trailer, it's just Pooh and Piglet.
Oh my God, can you imagine Tigger? It's just like a guy walking on springs. Holy
Tigger
shit.
or Rabbit or Eeyore.
Owl.
Owl.
Kangaroo. Oh my God, can you imagine how grim they could make Kangaroo?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be grim.
Sequels. If they're not in this one, it'll be in the sequel.
Like grim, like a massive big, what you have is like a massive big fat guy, and then you have like a person of small stature jump out his belly.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to see this trailer, look it up. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It's a very low budget horror movie. Yeah. If you want your childhood,
we should do a live watch along where we record our reactions to it. We'll find a copy and we'll watch it at the same time.
To the movie,
yeah.
That's
class watch along of Blood and Honey.
We could do that as like a Patreon exclusive, pay to see it. I'm not doing that for free.
We've got to sit in the dark as well.
Yeah.
Sit in the dark, watch
sit
it,
in the dark
lights on.
And then go to bed immediately.
Leave the door unlocked. Do you get to go through the dark house to lock the front door?
And then you have to you can't watch anything else before you go to bed.
No, naturally. No phone, no nothing, yeah.
Moving on. Because we've only got a few minutes left. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty official trailer. Official teaser. You're excited about this?
Yeah. I think the game's... we've talked about this recently. I still think the game's really good. I think that they've just done another update. And they're planning on fixing... This is the trailer
like
for the next expansion.
Thing. Yeah.
No, they've done that already. They've already done the next gen update. This is a full-blown expansion. To the game that's going to add a new places to go and new storyline.
Like a GTA expansion.
Like an old GTA expansion, yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's nice to see they're still giving it love because they're basically going back and fixing a bunch of stuff. So the next update's going to have a change to the vehicle, like they're adding in-vehicle combat. They're reworking the police system, which they didn't quite get right the first time. They're adding all the new cyber like stuff. They're redoing cyberware, so I think they're going to be able to add all some people have in the game have metal arms and metal legs and stuff, and you couldn't do that. And they basically fans are kind of moaning about it, and people have modded it in, so they're basically going to go back and
just do it.
They've probably approached the modders and they're just going to go back and strip all that out, and that's before the expansion. So they're doing patch 1.7 and patch 1.8, and then they'll do the it's cool. They're making progress with it.
Remember when games came out and they were just finished?
Remember you could just buy a game, put it on an Xbox, and it would just turn on. You'd have to install it. Yeah. I remember.
I remember when I bought Red Dead, and I was living in Edinburgh with Cam, and then both of us had PS4s, and then we
install it.
I went to what's the shopping centre just down from Leith?
There's
a shopping centre in Leith.
Yes, I know.
With a Cineworld or whatever.
Western Harbour.
But anyway, I went there.
Oh my God, that's so annoying.
Yeah, it's near the Asda.
Yeah.
Here we go. We've got less than a minute of this podcast.
No, less than a minute of this one. We'll have to come back quickly. What the fuck is it? Oh my God. It's not even up here. What is going on? Ocean Terminal. Thanks.
Ocean Terminal. So I went to
Oh my
Ocean Terminal,
God.
bought it, put it in the PlayStation, was like, can't wait to play this. And then because of our Wi-Fi in the building, it was like 12 hours or something for it to download before you played
that's
it.
Horrific. So
It was a horrible time. So I basically downloaded it, went to work the next.
That's
Okay,
always the way. Always the way.
This is the way.
This is
We got-
the way.
We got knocked off again there, listeners. So we're going to go straight into our next trailer.
Roy's ad-libbing too much.
Too much ad-libbing. Off the
Too much
book.
ad-libbing all
Just
day.
off the book. Off script.
All day. Off script. He's gone way off the reservation, sir.
So yes,
the
next
only
one.
reason-
Next one is. Sorry, what were you
We've
gonna say?
already watched this next one, but the first part was a part that has only just been released to the general public, which is why I put it in there, mainly because the trailer's epic, but this makes it even better.
Tom Cruise is just being mental, and
Tom Cruise is single-handedly saving modern cinema.
If you've not watched the Dead Reckoning Part 1 trailer, listeners, go and look it up because they've changed it with a different intro. And Tom Cruise is talking to a camera, but it looks really windy. And you're like, why is he shouting? And why is it really windy? And he's clearly far away. And the camera pans away and out and further back and further back. And he's actually standing on a biplane with a pilot in front of him. And he's just holding onto the wing. And then, oh yeah, it's an actual plane. And then in my head, I was like, I know it's Tom Cruise, but that doesn't look quite real. Like,
and then another plane arrives.
And then another plane arrives in the background, and there's like, we gotta shoot Tom, blah blah blah.
We're running out of light.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we're in South Africa over a canyon filming the final part of Mission Impossible. Also, what was it he says? Oh, he says,
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
So he says, this is the bit I loved. He says, so we're at CinemaCon. As you can see, this is the Dead Reckoning trailer. Once you've done this, we're going to have a special screening of Top Gun Maverick, because this was before Maverick came out. And he says, we're going to have a special screening of Top Gun Maverick. He says, as you can see, we're going to finish up filming Mission Impossible. And then he literally does this salute, right? And he says, he does this salute and says, see you at the movies. And then the plane banks backwards. And all of a sudden, they just bank hard. And he's just holding on.
Hard left.
He's just holding on. He literally doesn't even look like he's tied in. He was just standing there and he just goes, all right, let's go.
And he's just laughing. He's just laughing so hard.
It's the baller bit is the salute and see you at the movies. And
see
then
at
just
the movies.
Which
is
so
such
good.
an old school move. Like, see at the movies. Like, very 50s.
And then just falls backward in the plane back. But anyway, that trailer is excellent. That was worth watching again.
Yes. I mean, he's an absolute psychopath, but he is saving cinema.
Everything he's doing, I'm really excited to. I hope he takes part in the F1 movie that they're planning on making.
Nice.
Yeah, with the same director, which makes me think it's going to be Tom Cruise is in it. It'll probably be like Days of Thunder 2.
Last trailer?
Yeah. So anyway, if they do the same thing with real stunts, it could be excellent. Last trailer, I only added this because I thought it was cool. The final season of Star Trek Picard which is not a great show, but has all the original cast in it. So it's a cool trailer. It's
Duncan's
fun for
happy.
a moment. It's fun for a moment. You kind of go, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm fine. If they want to keep butchering Star Trek, I am absolutely fine with that because it means that they're not butchering Stargate, which is more important.
Okay,
So as long as they don't touch Stargate, I'm fine. Just leave it alone. You take Star Trek. You could have Star Trek. You could do whatever you want with it. I couldn't give a shit. The trailer, like I said, the trailer's pretty cool and it looks great, but it was terrible. But as long as they're screwing around with Star Trek, they hopefully won't touch Stargate. So that makes me happy. So that's okay. As long as Stargate remains untouched.
Oh, well. Shall we end it there then?
Yes, I think so.
Nice. I did ask if Eddie wanted to join for the outro, but he's still recovering. His face just hasn't quite healed yet. So he is at home. He's fine. But now is not the time to. Now is not the time.
The raccoon bites are itchy.
Yeah, I think it might have been ravenous. I don't know. But I'm sure he'll be fine. He checks his glove box every time he goes back into the car now, just in case.
Yeah.
But thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in this week's episode. Remember, you can catch us on all the socials at That's Class Pod. We'll probably upload me sitting on a couch Duncan sitting on a couch, how we sit and how we test couches.
How we test couches.
We'll also, I upload little segments of the show to try and entice people to come and listen, and what the show is going to be about. The title is usually irrelevant, but the background usually is. So you can check us out on all the socials at That's Class Pod, or you can email us on that'sclasspod@gmail.com if you have any questions, or you want to write to the pod. We have new episodes up all at the same time on a Monday, wherever you find your podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever you want to listen to. Keep your notification bells on just in case we're a little late. It's usually a Monday. But thank you very much for listening. We will see you next week. Have a super day. Say goodbye, Duncan.
Goodbye, Duncan.
And we hope Eddie has a speedy recovery. God save the king.
God save the king. Ooh.
That's a new thing we have to say now.
What a sign off.